Hello everyone, computer science students, my dear computer science students. Let's do a few activities here, targeting your exam on Friday. And looking at the first activity, we did this in school also. Write an algorithm in pseudocode for a program that produces a list of numbers from 1 to 100, replacing a number divisible by 3 and the word fizz, and any number divisible by 5 with the word buzz. Whenever a number is divisible by 3 and 5, the word biz should be displayed. Once you're happy with your solution, implement and test it in Python, right? So first of all, you have to be happy with your solution, right? Okay. So this is how we start. This is the solution I came up with. Begin, end as the pseudocode written, and remember, pseudocode has to be much more professional than the structured English, whereas structured English is very much closer to our language. Pseudocode is in between the structured language and the programming syntax, right? Okay. So don't forget to indent like this, so it's very easy to analyze and understand. While a not equal to 0, in fact I should have initialized a, right? So a is oh, I'm not asking for a number, no? No, here the user is not really entering a number, it's just a number is generated, right? Right, so we are going to continue this loop until the user enters 0, until the user wants to terminate the loop. We are going to continue this. So here a equals 1, so while a not equal to 0, it is not equal to 0, so it will enter the loop and start doing this, right? At the end of the loop, we'll ask a question from the user. We'll ask a equals input terminate, press 0, continue, press enter number more than 0. Right, so this will keep the loop going on until the guy enters 0, right? So in the loop, what we are doing is generate a number. This will be a random number. Generate a random number 1 to 100, and if number percentage 3, now percentage represents the remainder of the division, right? So the number will be divided by 3 and the remainder will be taken, and the remainder is checked against 0. If the remainder is 0, that means the number is exactly divisible by 3. Then print fizz. Else if number divisible by 5 without a remainder, if the remainder is 0, that means it is exactly divisible by 5, then print buzz. Else if number divisible by 3 and divisible by 5, that means the number should be both divisible by 3 and 5, for example 15, 15, then print fizz buzz. And if Okay, and if in the pseudocode, of course, I can put 3 end ifs here to close all the if statements, but in the program syntax, of course, we don't really need to do that, right? If, else, if, 3 ifs, and the 3 ifs closes here, right? So that is supposed to be the answer for this activity. Now if I'm happy with the solution, I think I'm happy at the moment. Let's see, let's convert this into a Python code and see how it works, whether it satisfies our requirement, and if not, we'll come back to the pseudocode and change it and go back to the Python code to do the necessary changes, right? Hello everyone, now let's implement this algorithm that we finalized in the previous video, in the previous session, right? So let's see how we can map this, right? First of all, let's put a comment, activity 1.1.1, right? So how are we going to map this? A equals 1. So let's start with no, before that, since we are going to use this random feature, we are going to generate random number. I need to import a library file, which is import random, right? Otherwise I won't be able to use the function which is called randint, right? Okay, now we start A equals one, right? So A equals 1. We are going to start with A equals 1, and now I need to enter the loop, right? So the while loop, while A not equal is written like this in Python. In other languages you will get like that, the greater than, less than signs facing each other, while A not equal to 0. So which means this becomes true, right? Because A is 1 while A is not equal to 0, which is true. 1 is not equal to 0, which means it is going to enter the loop here, the while loop here. Right now the first thing is we are going to generate the number, and that number must be installed in a variable, saved in a variable. So I use the num for that variable, and then I'm going to use the randint function, which is in the random library. So I need to first put random dot randint, because this randint is coming from the random the file random, right? And in the brackets I had to give the range, because this will generate a random integer, and I want it between 1 and 100. Okay, so this will generate the random number between 1 and 100, and it will be stored in the variable num. Right now after that it's pretty easy. It's just checking whether this num is exactly divisible by 3. Right now what that percentage is, the modulus is the remainder of a division. So num modulus 3, we have to check whether the remainder, now this will give the remainder of the division, right? After dividing by 3 it will give the remainder, and we need to check whether the remainder is 0. So, and also remember we put double equals here, because that's the check. Single equal will be assigned, single equal is assigned, so this random number is assigned to num variable. This double equal means check, and if the remainder is 0, you put colon there for if, as well as the while loop. And then remember the indentation, don't forget, and to have the proper indentation, right? So if it is true, we will be printing fizz, right? Okay, and then the else if. Now else if, of course, written in Python as elif num mod 5 equals 0. If it is so, we have to print buzz. Okay, and that's another condition, elif. This time if num is divisible by 3 and 5 equals 0 and, right? So all these keywords are getting colored in orange, unless we haven't changed the interface. So num divided by 3, the remainder is 0, and num mod 5 equals 0. If both conditions are true, print this does. Right, so no end if. It's all happens through the indentation. Right, now we need to keep this loop going on, right? Because as long as the user does not enter 0, we need to continue this. So which means in order to continue the loop, I need to get another input from the user, and that will be checked against this condition here. So a equals input. Now remember, this has to be converted into int, otherwise what it gives is a text value, which will not be checked in the condition. So int input, because the condition is checking for a number. Int input, let's have two options, right? To continue, or we'll just say continue 1. Terminate, that is terminate the loop, 0. Okay, so user has to either continue the loop or terminate the loop. If he is continuing the loop, he has to press 1. If he is terminating, he has to press 0, right? Okay, I think basically we have done. Let's write F5. Okay, so already it has generated number, because it has come right here. It has entered the loop and it has generated a number, and that number is checked and it is displayed here, the bus, right? So now we are asking, it's better to have a small space here if there's an input. It's always better to have a small space here, so let me have a space there. Okay, we'll have the input there, right? So we'll put the colon and a space there, right? Okay, now it's much more user friendly, right? Okay, right. So you see now fizz comes, which means the first condition has been true, which means the number which was generated could be exactly divisible by 3. So fizz comes, right? Okay, I want to continue, so I press 1. Oh yeah. So it didn't give a result there because the number generated was not meeting any condition here, right? So in order to make it bit more user friendly, we'll have another output here. We'll have else. Right, that means if it is not divisible by 3, if it is not divisible by 5, or both, what are we going to print? say print number not divisible by 3 or 5 or both. So none of the conditions is true there, right? So that's just to help us understand, right? And this kind of testing is also called stub testing. That's where we put the output command, the print command or the output command. We output it to the console to see whether we are actually getting we're actually passing certain stages. Right now, for example, here it didn't show the value, right? It just displayed the whiz or buzz or whiz buzz, right? But we are not seeing the value of the random function. So if I want to clarify that a random number was generated and it was this number, and accordingly it should display whiz or buzz or whiz buzz, what I can do is I can use stub testing. Simply put the output command right after generating number. So we'll print num, so that I can confirm what the number was and what the output should be. So this is part of white box testing as well. White box testing as well as start testing. So you put the print command simply in the stages wherever you want to test whether a certain stage, the certain line has been executed properly, right? Okay, now let's run it. Okay, now you see it's 30. The number is 30 and it's fizz. That's correct, right? Hold on, it can't be fizz, right? Because 30 is exactly divisible by 3 as well as exactly divisible by 5. Oh, right. So do you understand the problem here? Right. And the problem here is the first condition is checked. So first is true. It'll go for this one, 3 and 5, only if this condition is false, right? So which means this logic is wrong. Now see, that's the importance of testing, right? Now if not for stub testing, I wouldn't have noticed that error, isn't it? Right? So it is 30 and it is divisible by 3, exactly divisible by 3 as well as exactly divisible by 5, which means the third condition must be true, which means I should get fizz buzz as the answer, right? Now the reason was it is checking whether it is divisible by 3, right? Only if it is false it goes to else if, right? Now since this becomes true, it does not check the other conditions. So what we can do is we can first check for this. Okay, we'll simply move it around. See, a lot of things to look at, right? It's not just running the program and getting an output, right? We have to check whether there's a logical, actually this was a logical error. And we'll put 3 and we'll put 5 there, right? Now if you do a, okay, the output should be different, and if it is 3 it should be fizz and there should be buzz, right? So a slight change in the conditions. Now let's do a quick dry run and see whether we should be getting the answer correct, right? So if it is 30, now let's assume the random number is 30, 30 is divisible by 3, true, and divisible by 5, true. So both conditions are true, so it will print FizzBuzz. If not, it will check whether it is divisible by 3, like 9 for example. 9 is divisible by 3 but not by 5, so it will print fizz. So let's try our test values. Okay, we will try different values here, right? Else if it is divisible by 5, buzz, else so and so, right? Okay, let's try few values and get this confirmed. Right, 21 fizz, that's correct, right? It's divisible by 3 but not 5. Okay, let's try 20. What? Oh, what am I doing? Yeah, user should not enter any value. Yeah, it continued when I put 20 because that's more than 0. Okay, right, now what happened? 3 came, it's fizz, correct. Okay, let's continue. I can't control over the number. I just have to continue the loop, right? 75 is divisible by 3 as well as 5. Yes, it's FizzBuzz. Okay, fizz. Oh, there you go, buzz comes. 50, not divisible by 3, divisible by 5. Okay, so I have got all the outputs, isn't it? Fizz is there, FizzBuzz is there, and the buzz is there. So it's correct now, right? So which means we need to do a correction in our algorithm as well. So remember, it's very important that you test with you use different test strategies. The white box testing, the stub testing, and also dry run is very important, right? So on the paper, of course, if you are doing a dry run, you do it in the form of a trace table, but here you can just try with different values. Every condition has to be tested, right? Okay, we didn't see the last condition, which is not divisible by 3 or 5 or both, right? So let's continue to run this little further. Oh yeah, there you go. 31 is not divisible by 3, not divisible by 5, and both. Right, let's terminate. You have to check that as well. You have to check whether it terminates also, right? Okay, now it continued, that's fine. Let's see whether it would terminate. What should I do to terminate? I should enter 0, because as long as I don't enter 0, it will continue. If I enter 0, it will terminate the loop, right? There you go. Fine. Well done myself. Okay, so we need to do the changes. This should come right here. Then it should be FizzBuzz. This should be 3. Buzz, Viz. And this should be number 5. It should be bus. Right, no more changes, right? If divisible by 3 and divisible by 5, both conditions are true, it's FizzBuzz. Else if number divisible by 3, it's fizz. Else if number divisible by 5, it's buzz. Right, so everything is fine. Okay, so I hope you understood, and this is the head-to-head comparison between the pseudocode and the implementation. Now you see that there are certain differences. Of course, when you use different programming languages, it will be totally different, right? And one of the key things in Python is that you need to follow the indentation correctly, and it's quite easy and simple. And also remember certain things like when you're importing a file and using a function in that, right, there are parameters in it. And also when you're inputting a value, if you just input, it will be a text value, so you need to convert that, right? Unless I convert this the user input to integer, this condition won't be checked, right? And also very important is testing, different types of testing, white box testing, black box testing, stub testing, everything is needed, right? Okay, so hope you understood. Let's move to the next one in a short while, next activity, right?